Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to this session of Project Virtual Conference 2018. Today we have Dan Reiner with us, and he will be presenting on Master Projects in Microsoft Project. Before we get started, I just want to let you all know that you can use the chat option at the bottom of the screen to chat and ask any questions throughout the presentation. Without much further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Dan.
Thank you very much. And I'm assuming you can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Then I think we are indeed ready to go.
Yep.
Okay. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for attending. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you're attending from. Again, I'd like to thank you in many different languages for attending this webinar put on by Milestone Consulting Group. Milestone is a gold project and portfolio management partner of Microsoft, and we have been for over 15 years. We are a complete Microsoft project and portfolio management services providing organization. We have been on the Product Advisory Council now for probably over 8 years, contributing to the design of Microsoft Project. We are a PMI, Registered Education Provider, and PDU information for today's webinar will be provided at the end of the webinar. Again, my name is Dan Reiner, a partner at Milestone Consulting Group, based out of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul here in the United States. Feel free to reach out to me anytime following this presentation, and feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn. I'd enjoy reading your post and sharing posts with you. Just a little bit of background information. I'm the creator of Milestone's YJTJ process for Microsoft Project. I've done a lot of guest speaking over the years, and I've done a fair amount of writing on Microsoft Project as well over many years. Most importantly for today though, for you, I have over 25 years of day in, day out Microsoft Project experience. It's my hope that my personal years of experience and our collective years of experience will shine through for you here during this webinar. During this webinar, best practices for thinking about, creating, and maintaining master projects will be covered. If time permits, creating and managing cross-project dependencies will also be covered. This webinar is designed for those of you that are managing multiple schedules and would like to view and manage each schedule from within a single Microsoft project file. Today's webinar will be run completely in PowerPoint due to the likelihood of internet latency issues. However, I do have Microsoft Project ready to go if needed. So when we get to some questions a little bit later on, I might just put Project up on the screen or put Project Server up on the screen and answer your questions there. Please note that this particular presentation was penciled into the agenda very late. It was brought in just a day or so ago. So I tailored this down a little bit to meet this hour, but I think we'll have enough time to get through and definitely leave some time for questions. So let's go ahead and get started. There's a very simple agenda for our time together. I was asked specifically to really just focus on Microsoft Project in this presentation. So we'll begin by thinking about master projects in Microsoft Project, and then we'll take a moment and create a master project. And then we'll talk about maintaining master projects. And then there'll be some time for questions. However, if there's enough time to jump into cross-project dependencies first, I'll maybe do that, and then leave some time for questions at the end. Okay. So far, so good. So let's begin with just thinking about master projects. Before I do anything in Microsoft Project, and I'm a very avid user of Project day in, day out, I always want to make sure I understand what it is I'm about to do or to try and do to support my project, program, and portfolio management objectives. So the first question I would ask myself is, why do I need a master project? And the answer I've always come back with is to view, analyze, and report on all projects from one place. Another very common response to this question is to support program management needs, which may very well include the creation of cross-project task dependencies. So whenever I ask people, why do you need a master project, when they inquire about one, those are the two responses I usually get all the time. I want to be able to view, analyze, and report on all projects from one place. And I need to be able to look at a program in one place. I've got program management needs. I've got projects that are dependent upon each other within the program. And we could say the list would go on, but those first two are the primaries. The next question that I would always ask is, do I really need a saved master project file? And that's a very good question. Maybe I only need a temporary master project file. Maybe a saved master project file is not all that it's advertised to be. Okay. I would like to pull all my projects together in one location, but do I really need to save them that way? That's a very good question. Sometimes, and I would say many times, a temporary master file is all that's needed, but you might want to save a master project file, but you might not need to. So let's keep that in mind as we move along. So now that we've been doing a little bit of thinking about a master project, let's go ahead and create a master project. Now, there's three words I always use when I'm talking about specific features in Microsoft Project, and that is matter of style. I'm going to go about it one way, but you'll see another way as I expand upon an existing master project here shortly. But it's a matter of style because there are a number of ways you can do this. But if you don't have a master project file, here's my recommendation. Okay? To create a master project, the following steps are recommended. First one, open each of the project files that you wish to contain in a master project file. And then from the View tab, Window Group, click New Window as you see in that screenshot. So I'll open up each of the files I want contained in a master, and then I'll navigate to the View tab from one of the files, go to the Window Group, click New Window, and then from the New Window dialog box, I'll select each of the files and then click OK. Once you do that, once you click OK, Microsoft Project will open a new blank file and will insert all the selected files as subprojects in the new blank file. So right at this moment, you actually now have a master project file. In the screenshot that you're looking at, it's a small screenshot. I see a section of Project A, but projects B, C, and D have also been inserted. So what you could do is you could navigate to the View tab and go to the Data Group and select Outline. And then select Level 1 to collapse your work breakdown structure to the project level of each subproject file. Now, you indeed, at this point, have a master project file, although it is not a saved master project file. And you can clearly see at row 0, the project summary task, where the file name currently sits as Project 2. It's the second blank file that Microsoft Project is opened since I opened Microsoft Project. And you can clearly see that Microsoft Project ran an insert project routine 4 times to insert projects A, B, C, and D. This isn't a saved file, but it's indeed a master project file. So back to thinking. Now, what do I do? Do I need to save the new blank file? Well, the answer is no. So I can simply work the subproject files in the new blank file and then dispose of the file without losing changes to the subproject files? The answer is yes. So right now, all I've done is I've brought 4 files into a single Microsoft Project blank file. So I have a master project file, although it's not saved. I can work these sub-project files in this one master project file, but I don't need to save this file. Okay, and the reason I don't need to save it is by default, link to project, that is the source file for each inserted subproject, is selected by default. In other words, any changes made in the master file will be made in the source file, while any changes made in the source file will be made in the master file. So once you're done making changes to subproject files, simply close the temporary master project file without saving changes to it, and then select an appropriate saving option for the subproject files. So if you're using Project Online or Project Server, and you create that temporary master project file, and you make your edits to your subproject files, and then you go to File and Close for the container file, the master, all you have to do is say no, because there's no need to save that master project file. After you choose no and click OK, then you can just select an appropriate option for each of the subproject files. If you're using Microsoft Project on the desktop, you're not using Project Online or Project Server, all you have to do is go to File and Close and say no to saving changes to that Project 2 or whatever blank file that was that Microsoft Project opened. And then, just like in a Project Online or Project Server environment, select an appropriate option for each of the sub-project files. So in continuing to think about master projects, if I close and do not save the new blank file, in essence, all I created was a temporary master project file. And the answer to that is exactly. That's all I've done. I've called upon Microsoft Project to create a temporary master project file, allowing me to work all of my subprojects within one master project file. And then I closed and discarded that temporary master project file and saved changes to the subproject files. And now I'm in a good place. But people have asked me over the years, what if I want to save the new blank file as a master project file? What do I do? Can I save the master project file? And the answer is yes, absolutely. If you are working in a Project Online, Project Server environment, all you have to do is go to File and choose Save. Give the file a name, and then select an appropriate option for each of the sub-project files. If you're using Microsoft Project Desktop, all you have to do is go to File and Save, and give the file a name like Master Project, like you see in that screenshot. Save it in a certain location on your laptop or on a network shared drive, and then select an appropriate option for each of the sub-project files. It's that easy to create a saved master project file. So what does this really mean? Now that I have a saved master project file, it just means I don't have to recreate the file again each time I want to work my sub-project files within one Microsoft project file. So moving right along. Now that I have a saved master project file, I need to make sure I maintain that master project file. I need to know how to work it. Okay? So to begin with, to maintain that master project file, treat it like any other Microsoft project file, except for one thing, and that is adding tasks to the master project file itself, which we do not recommend. Sure, you can, but we would not recommend it. Our recommendation is that the master project file just be a container for each of the sub-project files and not have its own task. I've seen many people put tasks in a master project file over the years, but I would argue it's better to keep that master project file clean and devote it to sub-projects only. The beauty in having that saved master project file is you don't have to recreate it every time you want to pull your subproject files together in one location. Okay? Again, it's okay to add tasks to subproject files. We just don't recommend adding tasks to that master project file. I've had people over the years say, okay, Dan, I now have the master project file. What if I want to add another subproject to that master project file? Well, that's very easy to do. If you need to add a subproject to an existing master project, the following steps are recommended. Simply open the master project file. Now, here's a very important step before bringing in another subproject. Navigate to the View tab, go to the Data group, select Outline, and then select Level 1 to collapse the work breakdown structure to the project level of each subproject file. So it looks like that. And then select the next blank task row. And then from the Project tab, Insert Group, select Subproject. From the Insert Project dialog box, navigate to and select the project to become a subproject, and then click Insert. You'll see that I've navigated to the Insert Project dialog box in the screenshot, and it's Project E that I want to bring in and add to that master project file. With Project E selected, all I have to do is click Insert, and now I've added a subproject to an existing saved master project file. It's very important to add subprojects to an existing master project at Outline Level 1 in the master project file, as you see right here. Okay. Otherwise, you'll be nesting the subproject file within another subproject file. So if I had Project D rolled out and then I inserted Project E would become a subproject to Project D. In other words, the subproject file E ends up being saved as part of the other subproject file, thus turning that subproject file, that being Project D, into a master project file itself. So you don't want to do that. There's no reason to nest Project E in Project D. So we have some time here. I'm just going to go back a couple slides again. If you want to add an existing project to a master project file, select that project. But before you do that, make sure that you're sitting at Outline Level 1 in your work breakdown structure. Make sure you followed this step here of navigating to the View tab, the Data group, select Outline, and choosing Level 1 to have your work breakdown structure look like that, only showing the inserted project titles. Then go to the Project tab, Insert Group, select Subproject. Go find the subproject to add, and then click Insert, and now it is simply a subproject file in the master project file. It's not a nested file within one of the other subproject files. Okay, so again, just be sure to add your subprojects in that manner, otherwise you'll be nesting, and you don't want that subproject file becoming a subproject to one of the existing subproject files. Over time, I've had people for many, many years now, many decades, say, well, what if I want to remove a subproject from the master project file? Well, if you want to do that, it's actually very easy to do through the following steps. Simply select the subproject file to be removed from the master project file. And here's where people have been concerned historically. I tell them to press the delete key on the keyboard, and they're worried that that will delete the source file. Well, that won't. Okay? When you press the delete key, the planning wizard is going to display regarding that subproject, but know that it will not delete the source file. You're only removing the subproject file from the master project file. That's it. You're not deleting the source file. So again, all you have to do is select that subproject file to be removed from the master, press the delete key on your keyboard, click continue to the planning wizard, and then click OK, and that subproject file is then removed from your master without deleting the source file. There are other items to consider in maintaining a saved master project file. These are going to get a little bit more in depth, not too advanced, so please think hard as we're working through a few of these. If you are working in a project online or project server environment, when you publish the master project file, all subproject files will be published too. So remember that. If you're making changes to your subproject files and you feel like publishing the master, but you don't think you're publishing the subproject files, you are. In Project Online and Project Server, at the direction of the organization, we've had administrators lock down the ability for saving master project files to the project server database. There's an option, as you can see right here, called Allow Master Projects to be saved and published. If that's not selected, your organization and a Project Online project server environment has made a decision. We don't want saved master projects on our server. Okay, well, let's keep that in mind for a minute, because what you can do is you can save a master project file off locally. If you can't save a master project file to your project server environment, you can save it locally to your laptop or to your desktop or to a network share. And when you open that master project file, it will still call out to the server for each of the subproject files. You just can't save it to the project server database if Allow Master Projects to be saved and published is not selected. In Project Online and Project Server, the master project must be checked out in order to check out subproject files from within the master project file. So if you're going to work in a read-write mode in your subproject files in the master project file, the master project file must be checked out in order to do that. If subproject files were rolled up, imagine you rolled them up to outline level 1, to row 0 of each of the subproject files. And then the master project file was saved and closed. When the master project file is opened again, subproject files, once expanded, will open read-write if the master project file is checked out. If, however, the master project file is not checked out, then subproject files may only be opened in a read-only state until the master project file is checked out. So when you look at this screenshot here, this saved master project file, okay, this saved master project file has not been checked out. With the master project file not checked out, I cannot check out any of the subproject files. I can only review them in a read-only mode, and you can see that through the inserted subproject icon with the exclamation point to the right of it. Continuing on with additional items. If subproject files were rolled up and the master project file was saved and closed, the next time the master project file is opened and checked out, all the subproject files remain closed and checked in. Once a subproject file is expanded, it is automatically checked out. Okay, that's a loaded paragraph, but the beauty in that paragraph is if all my subproject files are rolled up to outline level 1, and I save and close and maybe even check in that master project file, the next time I open the master project file and check it out, it will do so very quickly, because we're not calling upon the master project file to go also open each of the individual subproject files. They remain closed until expanded. So that assists greatly with performance in working a master project file. So my advice to you would be every time you're going to close, save and close and check in your master project file, or if you're just working project desktop and you're going to save and close that master project file, roll up all your sub-project files first, and then save and close your master project file. So the next time you open that master project file, or in Project Online or Project Server, open it, check it out. All you're doing is opening and checking out the master. You're not opening and checking out the sub-project files until you expand them, and you can be selective. You can open one or two. You don't have to open all of them. In Project Online and Project Server, a project cannot be a sub-project in 2 or more published master projects. The file itself can be saved in an additional master project file. However, the additional master project file can no longer be published. So if I wanted to create another master project file and I wanted project C in that master project file, well, that master project file will no longer be allowed to be published because it's containing subprojects that are part of now 2 master project files. In Project Online and Project Server, you can't edit project data in PWA for a subproject in the master project file. If you want to edit a subproject in the master project file, all editing must be done in Microsoft Project. Okay? You can still edit individual source files in PWA, but you can't edit them from within the master project file. That functionality is not allowed. So if you want to edit subproject data in the master project file, you need to do that from within Microsoft Project because you can't do that from PWA. When you remove a subproject from a master project file, the tag subproject does not immediately come off the project in the server system. In other words, the project will not appear in the Project Center for viewing and editing when the option subprojects is not selected in the Show Hide group on the Projects tab. To remove the subproject tag, you must open the source file, and then we recommend checking it out and making any type of a change that will force the save process to actually run when save is selected, and then publish, close, and check in the project. Once the above process is complete, simply open and refresh PWA, and this subproject will reappear in the Project Center. So there's Project E. I deleted it from the master. Okay, I took it out of the master, and then I opened the source file. I made any change that'll force a save to actually run when you click save, and then went back to PWA and refreshed my Project Center. And now Project E is back in view and ready for editing. Okay. We do not believe the master project functionality is designed for a massive number of projects. I have one customer that I've worked with here recently that said, Dan, our master project file is slow. I gave him some tips and tricks to speed up the performance, but they have close to 900 projects in their master project file. And quite frankly, we just don't believe it was truly designed for that. If all 900 projects only had a couple of tasks in them, then maybe it'd be okay. But we're talking about projects that have anywhere from 150 to 1,000 lines each or more. And somebody created this massive master project file, and it simply does not perform well for that particular person based on a number of factors. Okay? We think about master project functionality more for a program, not a portfolio of projects. Okay, and that's how I'd like you to think about master project functionality, as a program management tool, not a portfolio management tool where all the projects and all the programs in one portfolio are in one file. In Project Online and Project Server, please note there is no concern with resource engagements. Okay. If you are not using Project Online or Project Server, we highly recommend that you learn to create a shared resource pool file for each project file for resource sharing purposes. This will greatly aid your master project environment from a resource capacity analysis perspective. Okay? If anybody ever tells you that a shared resource pool file is not a good strategy in a straight up Microsoft project environment, I beg to differ, because there are things you can do to take the performance of a shared resource pool file in a non-project server, non-project online environment and make them work very well side by side, even with a saved master project file. Okay? It can be done. Now, I'm showing we're just barely half past the hour. So I think what I'll do is I'll take you down to cross-project dependencies, and we'll go through a few slides here. This, to me, is one of the primary reasons that people create master project files, is to create cross-project dependencies within programs. Task dependencies can be created between tasks and separate projects. In Microsoft projects world, these are called external tasks, external dependencies. They're very easy to create, in particular through a master project file. So open your saved master project file or create a temporary master project file. If you are using Project Online or Project Server and you open a saved master project file, you must check out the master project file. Remember, if it's checked in, you can't check out the subproject files from within the master. Okay, so once we have that master project file open and the if in Project Online or in Project Server checked out, simply expand the subproject files that will contain the cross-project dependency. So you can see here that I've expanded Project A and I've expanded out Project B. They're both open, they're connected to their source files, ready for editing. Now all I have to do is select the task that will become the predecessor in one subproject file, press and hold the Control key, and then select the task that will be the successor in the second subproject file. There are other ways to create task dependencies. This is a primary. Now that I have my two tasks selected that will become predecessor and successor, all I have to do is go to the Task tab, Schedule Group, and click Link the selected task. And then when I do, I've now created that cross-project dependency. So right there in the screenshot that you're looking at is truly one of the #1 reasons why most organizations over all of these years that I've been involved with project create either a temporary or saved master project file, and that is to work the dependency logic between sub-project files. Okay. Then after you're done creating, my recommendation is you roll up those sub-project files and then close the master project file, and in the process, save changes to the master project file and the respective sub-project files. So take a look at this slide for a moment. Here's Project A by itself, the sub-project file opened on its own, not within the master. I have an arrow here pointing at an external successor, Task C, from subproject B. That's what an external task looks like. It's in a gray font. There's an external Gantt bar. And if I were in a live Microsoft project environment, if I double-clicked on this external task, Microsoft Project would automatically open its source file, that being Project B. And in Project B, I would see the external predecessor to that task from Project A. I can navigate back and forth between the projects by double-clicking the external task. There's more to managing cross-project dependencies than we really have time for today, but you can see here the beauty in using a master project file, saved or temporary, to create cross-project dependencies. So I'm going to take you back to right here and open this for questions. There's not a large group attending today, so there's plenty of time to ask some questions. And if you are a PMP, certified by the Project Management Institute, there's information you need right there to get one PDU from this session. So while the panel's open for questions, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Nobody has any questions? All right. Is our moderator still there?
Yes.
Good.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. So we have a quiet group, a small group. There's plenty of time for questions, but if nobody has any questions, then I've reached the end of this material, and I know you're recording this, so if they want to see this again, they certainly can.
That is true, and thank you for the information. It is very helpful, and we'll just give it another minute to see if anybody has any questions. If not, then I will end the meeting. And yeah.
And I could go straight into Microsoft Project as well and get out of PowerPoint if you would like, if anybody would like, if you have any questions, and I can put that up on the screen here. So there's my master project. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
So there's my master project environment right there live in Project Online. I'm not sure what happened to my little questions box here. It went away.
Oh, I think we had two comments. One from, I think the last was your comment, Dan.
Yeah, I just said you're welcome to the person that said thank you there.
Well, to the new attendees that have just joined, Dan is open to asking any questions and is currently present in the the master project, right?
Yes. Yep, the master project that I used for screenshots in the slide deck. Ah, there's the chat box. I got it back now. I see one name in the list of people I know there, but he can't ask questions. His name is Richard Courtney. He works with us.
Oh.
That'd be cheating if he asked me a question. Well, I certainly hope all of you that attended found some value from this. Again, this session was put together kind of in the 11th hour. So again, feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. I will put my, my information right back there on the screen for you. So please feel free to reach out at any time, send me a note, connect via LinkedIn, anything you'd like, and I'll take you back up to that particular slide that has my LinkedIn information right there.
Well, this is great, Dan. Thank you for sharing the information. If you are okay, I will end the meeting.
Okay.
Unless anyone has any questions.
No.
Okay. Well,
Right.
have a good one, guys.
Thank you very much. Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.